This is Maureen Kafkas, the Brain BS coach, here to tell you about the episode today. In this fourth episode of the RJ experiment, we begin by catching up with RJ on what's happened since our last conversation regarding the modalities we discussed. We talk about how to determine what course of treatment is best for you related to time demands and expenses. We also talk about how he's opening up more to his family and friends now since doing this work. I also introduced RJ to his human design in this episode, which was fun and interesting to learn. And I'll be sharing a lot of notes in the show notes to help you get your own chart for human design and some books that can be helpful. And I share all this and we talk about all this because of how important it is to take care of yourself, how important it is to love yourself fully in order to love other people and to keep an open heart in your relationships. That's really what it all comes down to. And that's what's happening for RJ in this experiment. He's continuing to open up to people in his lives. He's reaching back to people from the past and he's open to meeting people in the future. So far, I think it's been a success. I want you to sit back now and settle in. But before we do that, I just want to remind you that I am not a licensed clinical therapist, nor am I a doctor or a medical professional. So, what I'm teaching here is living consciously, and it can have a huge impact on your life, but it's not a replacement if you're in need for professional care. So now you can sit back and settle in for episode number 172 of the Brain BS podcast, the RJ Experiment, episode 4. Do you want more out of your life, but not exactly sure what that might be? Are you longing for something, but can't quite put your finger on what it is? That is the universe speaking to you, and it is time to listen up. I'm your host, Maureen Kafkas, the Brain BS coach. I created the Brain BS podcast to help people define what success means to them and show them how to get it. I help you to let go of fear and doubt and prepare your nervous system for success. I show you how to understand your own energy and to trust yourself to make all the decisions. If you are ready to go inward and stop looking outside yourself for all the answers, this is the podcast for you. Now let's get started. Hello and welcome back to the Brain BS podcast. We're in our fourth episode of the RJ experiment. I got that right this time.
Yes.
Yeah, so I like the way this is coming along. I'm keeping track of everything. We'll sum it all up when we do the last episode of the podcast of all the things we touched on and the things that you've learned in this experiment and what you think you might, continue with and what you're just going to be like, yeah, no, I'm never going to look at that again. I don't want anything to do with that. So
Sounds good.
we'll kind of get to that point, but today, first, we're going to follow up with RJ about a few things that I said I was going to follow up on. And then we're going to kind of talk about his human design a little bit. We're going to do a little intro to that so that you guys can see what it's about. And then RJ is going to learn a little something about himself today that he probably doesn't know or doesn't recall. So we'll see if it resonates with him or not, because it's definitely not for everybody. So RJ, thanks for being here again for another episode.
Thank you, Maureen. Looking forward to today's conversation.
Do you really look forward to them?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure at this point if you look forward to them, if you're like, oh my God, I need to go do that again. I can't wait till this is over.
No, I enjoy our conversations and learning different things and learning different ways to better myself mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Nice. I like the way you sum that up. And isn't it nice to just make yourself a focus
Yeah.
for a
Yes.
change? Because you make everyone else a focus. You have for a long time taking care of your kids, and now you get to spend a little time taking care of RJ.
Yes. It's about time.
Yes. All right. So, first thing I'm going to check on is we talked the last episode about the spirometer, and you were
Yes.
talking about a flutterer, and you're not sure how to use them. And I said you can Google it or look on YouTube, and I was going to follow up with you to see if you actually did that and are using it, or are you still putting that off?
Negatory on using it.
Why are you
um,
not using it?
I just, you know, it, there's no excuse why I haven't been using it. It's just a matter of, I need to set more of I guess, a timeline during my day where, um, you doing this at this certain time, because they're calling out doing the spirometer for, 2 to 4 times a day, doing the flutter 2 to 4 times a day, you know, let alone waking up and eating breakfast and getting the insulin injections and taking my OFEV with food and taking insulin injections with each meal. So um, I just haven't implemented it in my daily schedule to do those yet.
Okay. So I think we just figured out what our last episode should be on.
What's that?
On dealing with the overwhelm
Yeah.
of the different, like trying to incorporate all these things that you're learning into your life, and how to manage them and fit them in a way that works for you, and not in a way that you're judging yourself because you're not doing enough and you should be doing better, and really just accepting what you can and can't do, and helping you develop a daily practice, a daily routine, and a daily
Yes.
practice to keep you in a good frame of mind with all this.
Yeah. That's what I need.
Okay, we'll do that for the next episode. So,
Okay.
okay, I wanted to also, and also, like, I'm not doing this, audience, to put RJ on the spot or make him look like he's a slacker or anything. I'm doing it because a lot of people need accountability to do something. Like, they'll talk about it for a long time and they won't do it. And I'm the same way with some things too. So that's why I'm circling back to see about some of this stuff. Okay, and then the other thing we talked about on the podcast was Rick Simpson oil, or John Simpson
John,
oil, what you thought it was. And I
aka Rick Simpson oil.
yes. But it's actually Rick Simpson oil, and it's a concentrated cannabis oil. Now, so the thing is, and this is interesting, because the next thing we're going to follow up on is acupuncture. And
Yes.
what it says here about this concentrated cannabis oil is that it causes vaporous fumes that can potentially irritate and harm your lungs. So because of that, I would think that that's not something that you should be using. But you did say that you started acupuncture, so we want to hear about that. And then, like, tell us about this menthol thing
Yeah.
that acupuncturists gave you, because these little things, like, not everybody is really paying attention to your whole health.
Yes. 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 So based on our conversation from the last episode, I did reach out to an acupuncturist that's maybe 2 miles up the road from my house. Looked at her website, raving reviews, um, been in business for quite some time. So I made an appointment with her and saw her last Tuesday, and then, um, or Tuesday or Thursday, I can't remember, after our last recording. And then saw her this morning. So I've had 2 acupuncture sessions, um, with each one. Um, Acupuncture, I guess, from what she tells me, is you're not going to feel the effects of acupuncture until you're, you know, 8, 10 sessions into it. Um, and at a cost of $75 a piece, it's not a cheap venture, should I say, when you're spending, $75 a week on acupuncture. She wanted me to do twice a week. I'm going, "Oh, I don't know about that one." So I just, all right, I'll commit to once a week and see how it progresses.
Well,
Um,
like, I just want to stop you for a second there,
yeah,
because I think she might be talking about getting to the root cause.
yes.
Because
Well,
you can have symptomatic relief from one acupuncture session, because I used to get it from my back and it would help me.
yeah, I mean, all right, here, why did I go to the acupuncturist is my right um shoulder blade, between my shoulder blade and my spine, I always have a knot in that area. It's always achy, it's always hurting, it's sometimes goes numb. So that's where I wanted her to concentrate on. So basically, the last 2 sessions I've been doing acupuncture geared at that spot. So, that's where she said, it'll take 8, 10, 12 times for it to start to decrease, or feel any benefits from the acupuncture in that particular spot. After
Okay.
two of them, do I feel any different? No.
Uh, so doesn't that
No.
make it kind of hard to want to keep doing it and spending the money on it?
Yes, it does. And then she did cupping today, which was interesting, where they put the suction cups on your back. And, I think I got like 10 different suction cups on my back today.
Yeah.
Only $35 for that one. Nothing's free, baby.
Well, this is almost free what you're doing with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can't be $100, five
Yeah.
sessions. So yeah, this is the way universe is getting you to pay it back in other ways.
Yes, yes.
But okay.
Um,
Well, but I think the reason why I bring this up is because I think people don't go into coaching and they don't go into new things because they don't trust the process and they're not sure they trust the person.
yes,
Right? Like, is this person
yes,
really going to be able to do what they think they can do for me? And why? And how are they going to do it? And they don't trust themselves either to do what they have to do to make it worth the money. But that being said, you also have to be smart with who you decide to invest in and how much money. So I'm just going to give you my take on this and you could take
yeah,
it. There's so many different things that are out there now that can help
yes,
with emotional blocks that don't take 8 to 10 sessions.
yes,
So immediately, so we've been taught kind of um, a little brain BS that it takes a long time to heal things and to fix things, whether it be emotional, spiritual, mental, or physical. And sometimes it doesn't have to be that way.
yeah,
Sometimes you can have something you have an internal shift inside you and it can really change something, especially like pain. I have my low back pain forever and it's gone. So I know it's possible, even though it's been there for a really long time, to make it dissipate. But I've also done all kinds of different things. And
sure,
I did the physical stuff too. I did the physical therapy. I did, working with a hands-on practitioner. I did all this stuff, but so I want to bring that up because I think you want to be smart. You want to pace yourself. You don't want to commit to
mhm,
8 to 10 sessions in advance if you don't have to. If that's the only way you can get it and you're all in. But if you are going to be all in on something like that, then you want to manage your mind around it and you want to look for all the ways it is working because your
yes,
brain's going to want to look for all the ways it's not working. That's how
yes.
brains look for the negative bias.
I can understand that.
Yeah, so you just whatever you decide to do, if you commit to it,
Mhm,
want to really manage your mind around it and use your mind to work for you, not against you.
yes. And I mean, it's more just, this nagging pain that has been there for years and years and years in my, arm and shoulder and my back. The tingling sensation and the numbness has continued. And so, no, I haven't gone to physical therapy about it. um
Why not?
I no excuse there on why not.
See, but like, do you see, like your
Yeah,
body is telling you, please get me some help. Please help
yes,
me. And and if you're able to ignore it, you are.
hmm,
And this has been going on for years.
yes,
You've kind of just accepted it as being a part of your life, it seems like.
yes, the lower back or the power, the pain in my shoulder,
Yeah.
and the tightness of that muscle. And yeah, just you live to learn with. I mean, it's not dis debilitating.
Well, that's
It's
why you're not
just
doing anything about it. If it was dating, you would have gone. But that's it. This I want you to open your mind to the possibilities that real healing, if you want like miraculous healing here
yeah,
and you want to really prolong your life, You need to love on yourself and take care of yourself like you never have before. And therapy is usually covered by insurance.
Yes.
That's not going to be a high ticket item. It's going to cost you time, but it can also prolong your time on the planet.
Yes. Yes.
Because if your body's sending you a message about an ailment that you have, and it whispers, then it gets a little louder, then it gets louder and louder to the point where you can't do anything about it. You don't have the ability to change it.
Okay.
But when it's still a whisper or something that's manageable, that's where there's the most potential for you to change something in your energy and your DNA.
I will go see my GP and get a referral for physical
All
therapy.
right.
But that'll be next year because then insurance kicks in.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm going to be following up with you to make sure that you did that.
All right, I will do that.
Okay. I find it very fascinating. People that don't want to go to their doctors and get what they need, but I'm beginning to see that it's because they don't think it's going to make a difference any more than you think that acupuncture is going to be the answer. If like you're not sure, you're kind of hoping, but
Yes.
the physical therapy though, it's that one doesn't make as much sense to me because it doesn't cost money, but I think it's just a habit you have. Like if it was your kid
Yeah.
who had that pain for that amount of time, you'd be paying for them to go do whatever
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
help them, right? So it's
Yeah.
really profound to become aware of what you're settling for and you're just accepting it as if there's a part of you that feels like you deserve pain.
Yeah. It's a reminder I'm still alive.
Oh, that's it's good to have reminders that you're still alive. But there's better reminders that you're alive than pain.
I know.
All right.
All
All right.
right.
So you're going to you're going to go to your general practitioner and you're going to talk to them about physical therapy. And
Yes,
what
for my,
about a chiropractor?
and actually, I was looking at my insurance for, well, insurance for 2020. Chiropractor is covered under my medical plan to an extent, I think 50%. But, yes, I was looking at a chiropractor who's in the same center as my acupuncturist. so,
Perfect. Well,
so,
because a lot of times you need more than one thing.
yeah,
Like there's
yes.
different ways to approach it. But like chiropractor, you don't have to go 8 to 10 times to a chiropractor.
No.
Sometimes you do, but if you do, you might want to find another chiropractor.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, eight
I
to
mean,
ten times is kind of a lot to regularly go see someone for an ailment. I would be shaking it up then and trying somebody else.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it's been probably 5, 6 years since I last went to the chiropractor.
Did it used to work for you before when you went to the chiropractor?
Um, yeah, I guess so. That was more, living back in Northern California, stressed out with everything else in my life. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know
Uh,
what? That Northern California stressed out life that you had with your ex-wife is in your back.
yeah.
It is
Damn
literally in your back. So
it.
kind of let go of it.
All right. All right. Well, I'm trying different ways to improve it, better it, let go of it.
Yeah. And the chiropractor, one session isn't going to be that much money. You don't have to wait until January to get rid of that pain.
Yeah.
Especially if 50% or whatever is covered, because ours isn't, when I went, or for some reason mine wasn't covered, it wasn't a crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if it can make you be pain-free before the holiday,
Yes. Yes. But I think I have to get a referral from my GP on that one too.
for a chiropractor, no.
I'd have to look at my, insurance companies.
I don't think you need a referral for a chiropractor, but look into it.
I will look into it. I wrote it down: physical therapy and chiropractic.
All right. So see, here at the Brain BS podcast, we are not just about the spiritual and the mental, we're about the physical too. And I have my
Yes.
medical background, so I know a lot about all this stuff just from working in hospitals for a couple decades. And and the need to be proactive about your health care.
Yes. Yes.
All right. All right, I'm going to leave you alone about that now. Yeah,
Uh,
let's talk about Reiki. Did you look at?
Reiki. So yes, I listened to the Reiki podcast that you sent me. Very interesting. Centering your Reiki points. your, I can't remember what they're called. Your centers.
Yeah,
Um, and actually, I Amani. Remember Amani?
yeah.
So she performs Reiki.
Oh,
So
cool.
she was going. She's offered to do. I guess it takes more than one session.
That's well, it can, but you can also have a lot of you can have a transformation in just one session too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you recommend, in your experience, doing acupuncture, Reiki, physical therapy, and chiropractor all at the same time?
Well, physical therapy, you're not going to start until January.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I
it's
recommend,
only friggin' a week away.
well, but okay, but I would say I would go to the chiropractor first. If it
All
was
right.
me, the
Yeah.
first thing I would do, you already went to acupuncture a couple of times. If it
Yes.
was me, I would go to the chiropractor and I would do a Reiki session. I wouldn't
Okay.
sign up for a bunch of Reiki sessions. I would try it out first to see what you think and kind of see if you get some benefit out of it.
Okay.
And then pay for more. And then, like, if the chiropractor can help you with the back pain, then you
Yeah.
won't go to um, physical therapy. It'll save you a lot of time
Yeah.
because, getting into physical therapy, you have to go there regularly and
Correct.
repeatedly. And sometimes you don't have to do that with the chiropractor.
Yeah. And
So,
it's more my muscle than my skeleton. But who knows with the chiropractor, you know, whether it
yeah.
is my skeletal issues causing pain in my muscles or
But even if
vice
it's
versa.
muscles, the chiropractor can help with that because they do
Yeah.
like E-stem and ultrasound, and they actually do a lot of things that physical therapists do. And if you
Okay.
don't, this is also for the audience who's freaked out by chiropractors. You could go to chiropractors that don't do adjustments. So you don't have to
Yeah.
worry that they're going to do something detrimental to your spine because people get an attitude about chiropractors that they could really
Yeah.
hurt you and cause a lot of problems. But I tend to like a conservative chiropractor. I don't want them cracking my neck in 20 different directions, but they've been very helpful for me
Yeah.
when I've been in pain.
I don't mind being adjusted by the chiropractor.
Okay. All right. Well, then you should try that.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
I'll look into it.
All right.
But
Okay.
I am going to be gone for a week, so that's why I'm hopefully get it in before the end of the year. But I don't
Yeah.
know if I can.
Well, I mean, you can try. And if not, then what about, are you icing it or heating it or
I'm
any
sorry.
of it?
Say it again.
Are you putting ice or heat on it?
No.
Oh, I see. This is quite curious. How accepting you've become of this pain. Like it's just there, and
Live
you're
with it.
just like,
Just
okay, this is this is the way it's gonna be.
yeah.
Um, you deserve better.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. And then those are things that you actually have control over, like
Yes.
way more so than the cystic fibrosis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pulmonary fibrosis. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's not
Yeah,
cystic
I was like,
fibrosis.
as soon as I said that, I'm like, wait, something doesn't sound right there. Okay, so all right, one more follow-up question, RJ.
Yes.
This is funny because when we first started talking, audience, um, RJ was like, I was talking to him and he's like, okay, well, it's go, go, go. I got to implement. And I started laughing and I was talking about how this work really doesn't mean much if you don't implement what you learn. So
Yes.
I'm going to ask you, did you write any letters this week?
I have not.
All right. That's interesting too. Can you tell me? And that's okay because this is all an experiment, right? And everybody's
Yeah.
different. Can you tell me why you didn't?
Um, this week was just we had a lot of relatives in town for the coming in before Christmas. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then Sunday I moved my daughter back to my house, and then Monday worked, and then today's Tuesday. So it was just a busy, crazy week with a whole bunch of commitments and relatives, and so forth, that I just didn't find the mindset to sit down and put everything out there.
Okay.
But one thing I have been doing is sharing the podcasts with people, sending them the links for the first two podcasts being all of my siblings, my nieces and nephews, group of my buddies from North Side, um, other cousins and so forth. So sharing what I'm doing with other people. Uh, I've been proactively doing that
Okay,
this week.
that's good because that's still opening up
Yeah,
and letting like you it's just opening up the gateways, right? And
yeah,
that's like what the letter writing can do too. So when I'm when we finish up this experiment, I'm gonna have like a little thing that I write up for you
yeah.
and send you. So if you ever do decide to write the letters, I want to hear what you think about it, and because it can take people years to decide to do something that I suggest.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And so
I
I'm trying with you when we're together to have a little bit of urgency for you
yes,
to get some things done that don't require a lot of effort in time. Because the letter writings, like I, I mean, I'm sure I don't have to tell you that it's brain BS that you didn't have time to write a letter because like a letter could take 15 minutes and it could be, but that it's okay. But
yeah.
like, just know that you're choosing not to do those letters and there's a reason for it. It could be uncomfortable to relive and really go to all the things that you're thinking about things that have happened in the past that maybe you prefer to avoid and not deal with, or you just might not like to write.
Both.
Yeah, so like it's really I can't say for sure with you.
I mean,
I can say
you,
the
you
letters
know,
can be helpful.
I don't necessarily like to write. My thoughts, putting them out there. But thinking about it and what to say. It's not that I haven't written the letters, but it's not to say that I haven't thought about what to put in a letter or who to write letters to. Um, so it's one of those subjects. Yes, for me, writing these letters is going to be um, it's not a quick thing for me.
No, no. So also something else that you might want to consider. Well, first of all, like doing one letter a week.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? It doesn't have to be like you're doing it all the time because you are for life gonna want to write letters when you start to get all into the muck in your head and stuff. It's like one of the quickest ways to get out of it. But the
yeah.
other thing you might want to try is like recording, like an
Okay,
audio recording on your phone.
yeah,
Um, it's not quite, it's not exactly the same as writing. It doesn't activate the same thing in your brain, but I would
yeah,
imagine it would be pretty helpful because you could listen back and hear it in front of you and understand. So, because not everybody does like to write. I
yeah,
understand.
yeah, yeah. I can't even read my own chicken scratch after I'm done writing.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, all right. So I think we covered everything from before. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about, let me pull up your human design on the computer.
Okay.
Let's see, where did I put that? Okay. All right. So there's an episode about human design. I need to put some of these things that we talked about. I'm going to add them to the show notes.
Okay.
Each episode that we do so people can see the things that I'm sending you and stuff.
Great.
But so for this, we're doing, we have the human design chart in front of us, and you could get your human design chart on Jovian. If you just put free human design chart, it will take you somewhere. And then all you have to do is you have to know the date that you were born, um, the location, and you need to know what time it was in the year. So you have to know the time because
Yeah.
it makes a big difference in your profile lines and stuff. But so it's tied to astrology and a bunch of other things. And I'm gonna let the human design podcast that I did explain it to you. And then
Okay.
there's lots of books and stuff I can recommend on this too. But it turns out that you are a manifesting generator.
Okay.
So those are like some of the most powerful people because they can actually initiate things and they can finish them. So manifesting generators usually have a lot going on.
Okay.
They can juggle a lot of different stuff and they've got their hand in many pots. They're not, and now, by the way, in this chart, you have your personality side and your design side. Your personality sign or side, do you see where the black
Yeah.
is?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So the personality side is the things about yourself that you would be consciously aware of.
Okay.
Okay. That you would hear and you might be like, oh, yeah, that sounds like me. The design side is your unconscious side.
Okay.
So, who you're truly conditioned to be. So, if some of the things don't resonate with you, it could be because you've been conditioned to be other than who you really are. And we all have been conditioned to be someone other than who we are. We are
Yeah.
not, we're not brought up to be authentic. We're brought up to go with the pack and get along with everyone else and be a part of the tribe. And
Conform. Yeah. To
yeah,
conform, right?
yeah, so it changes. Yes. All right. So I have to go to another book real quick here. I have Richard Rudd's book here to go through the gene keys.
And what did you say personality was again? Personality was
That's the conscious side of you that you
conscious. Okay.
understand. Yeah.
And
So
the
now,
design is unconscious.
yeah. So I'm opening up Karen Curry Parker's book right now so I can tell you about your um your energy type.
Okay.
All right. So there's 5 different types of energy types, and you're the manifesting generator. Let's see. I'm going I'm going to not read a whole bunch of this because I think it would be boring and I don't
Mhm.
think we can take it all in. But you're designed to do multiple things at once. But
Yeah.
usually this is a cover up to disguise the fact that you have initiated several projects and they're working very hard to make them work out in spite of not having responded. To the others, the manifesting generator appears to be all over the place, but a manifesting generator is uniquely capable of getting more done than most people, and they can sustain this pace over a long period of time.
Okay.
Does that sound like you?
Um. Yeah. Yeah.
You would
Yes.
with that? Okay. So that's
Manifesting
your,
general.
and then your strategy in life is to respond to something. So for me, I'm a projector. I have to wait for an invitation. So you
Yes.
invited me to do this. You volunteered to come on my podcast and do this work with me. So that
Yes.
was the correct invitation. But if I started hounding you every week, trying to get you to do the podcast with me, then that wouldn't have gone over well.
Yes.
So
No.
I need to wait for an invitation. You need to wait in your own way because you want to respond to the correct thing.
Yes.
I
I
want
would
you to
say.
do anything, right?
Yeah. No. 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 I mean, I would say yes. I'm more of a responder. As far as a strategy, a responder than more of a initiator.
Okay.
Or,
Well, you're
well,
an initiator though, but
I
that's
know.
where your conditioning comes in too. That,
Yes.
okay, I wish you would put ice or heat on your shoulder. I'm sitting here watching you, and the fact that you're not taking care of that shoulder, I'm like, oh my God, he's like over here rubbing it, looking all uncomfortable. Um, so a manifesting generator does initiate things, but they do it based on responding to something they see that interests them and is something they should get involved with. And then your profile lines are sort of like how you navigate life. So for you, and then your inner authority is emotional in your solar plexus. So that means you have waves of emotions. So if you're trying to make a decision about something, you shouldn't make it in the moment. You
I
should
should or
you should
should not.
you should not. You should
Yeah.
wait it out. And you should
Yeah.
see all the different ways your emotions are going to go before you you move through with something and decide to do it. For my design, I'm a splenic authority. I decide in the moment, just like that. I don't
Yeah.
have to wait, which suits me quite well.
Yeah.
It's very easy for me to make decisions. Um, so let's see. All right. So that's your, we're not going to go into all the centers, but the centers are important, but this is why I recommend like just learning a little bit about this to get people intrigued. And then you
Yeah.
need to get a specialist, like get a reading with someone. It's I think it depends on the person, but a reading could be anywhere from 100 to um $200, but it really helps you to understand yourself. So there's 6 lines in the profile lines. You're a 3-5. So we're
Okay.
gonna look at the 3-5. All right. So, and the terms that they use are a little bit different. For the line 3, which is what you're a third line profile, you learn by experimenting. And they call you the martyr, but it's not the martyr in a traditional sense of the word. But you're here to share what works and what doesn't based on your own experimentation. You have never made a mistake in your life. Everything that you have tried that didn't work out was a crucial step in you mastering what does work. If you ever want to know the best way to do something, ask a third line profile. They've tried everything. Okay.
All
And how
right.
perfect is it that we're sitting here working together and I'm
Yeah.
trying to get you to experiment on all this stuff and you're a third line,
Yeah.
right? And you're kind of
Yeah.
open to it. Like you're kind
Yeah.
of, yeah, that's your true nature.
Yeah.
But over these last, I don't know, however many years, how much have you been experimenting with things?
Not much.
No. Yeah. So that puts you in your not self theme. So
Yeah.
the not self theme is when you're not in alignment and you're not living your design. And it's not a bad thing when your not self theme comes up, but it just shows you that something's out of whack. And
Yeah.
for a manifesting generator, the not self theme is frustration.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know you were getting frustrated with car stuff last week and different things like that, but the more you're able to personally in your own life stay in alignment, the better everything will be around you.
All right.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if you're a third line, your life path is experiential. You have to do something to work out all the bugs. But sometimes the third line profile will shut down out of fear of making a mistake or getting it wrong, especially if you've been judged or criticized for not getting it right. That kind of makes me think about your divorce and
Yeah.
the possibility of dating. That's definitely experimenting. Dates are definitely experiments. I wish I had that terminology when I was doing it, so I didn't take them so personally. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
really, they are an experiment. Um, it's important to understand that all of your so-called mistakes are part of your learning curve. It doesn't matter how much you know or how much you've prepared, things will go wrong. These mistakes aren't a reflection of your character. They're a vital part of your experimental process that helps you discover in a practical way what is truly useful and effective.
Okay. I mean, and when you said if it's not going right, I shut down. Is that one of the statements you had made?
Mhm.
Or yeah. Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. You've kind of shut down, like prior to me meeting you, you were kind of shutting down.
I was. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, shutting down and yes. Yes.
Not totally, like you were still there
No.
with your inner circle with your family, but
Yeah.
shutting down to the outside world of who you didn't know for sure you could trust, or and then your body is starting to shut down,
Correct. Yes.
right?
And yeah, yeah. I mean, just dealing with all of that and all the, different doctors and different opinions and different, knowledge that you gain from the different doctors and,
Yeah.
what people tell you and, how much you take each of all of that knowledge at a, you know, full bore or just a grain of salt. Um,
Yep, but as a third line, you take it all in and you consider all of it and you keep all your options open and you try a bunch of different stuff. You don't need to have one person tell you what to do.
No, I definitely don't listen to just one person or, um, just take it for face value and do something. I do, think about things, a lot, I guess, a lot more than reactive. I just don't jump into something.
That's good. That's an emotional solar plexus. So you shouldn't jump into something. You
Yeah.
should wait it out and make sure that it's a good thing for you to do. But
Yes. Yes.
there's waiting it out, and then there's like waiting it,
Procrastination.
yeah, shutting down and like not taking action.
Yes.
So it says in relationships, you need a lot of time to get clear about what you want and need. The third line energy can often make you fall in love at first sight and think that you found the one. Unfortunately, your third line energy can make you fall out of love as quickly as you fall in love. As a third line profile, you need a lot of space, freedom, and time in a relationship to know whether it is correct for you or not. Take it slow. It helps you avoid disappointment and keeps you from hurting otherwise. In its highest expression, you are wise about life based on your own experiments and experiences. And the lowest expression, you're afraid to try new things because you know there will be a certain amount of trial and error associated with them. Doesn't it, I mean, isn't it nice to know, like, just like in this one brief little intro into human design, that you're learning it's okay that you've made mistakes in life and that there actually aren't any mistakes and it's all part of your plan?
I've never heard of human design chart before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all interesting to understand it and, you know, looking at, what a manifesting generator is versus a, emotional solar plexus. Um, and, it all comes out when I was born and the time I was born and where I was born. How they figure that all out, I don't know.
Well, so listen to the podcast episode because I'm like,
Okay.
that is not my strength. And I
Yeah.
own it. Like, I don't even pretend. Like, when I start thinking about it, I'm like, oh, I don't want to explain it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No. And
there's plenty of places that you could look it up and
yeah.
do articles on it and figure it out. But it's also not something that you need to know everything about. You know, you're a manifesting generator so far. If you never
Yes.
did anything else, with if we stopped right here and you didn't do anything else, you know you're a manifesting generator, so you know you should have a lot of things going on and you should be selective about what you decide to do, but you can begin something and you can finish it, and you're the only design that can do that.
Yes. Yes.
Right? You can
Yep.
manifest something and begin it and initiate it and have the energy to sustain what it takes to complete it. So that's very beneficial. Your
Yeah.
strategy is to respond. So you know to be thoughtful and considerate. You know that your inner authority is emotional solar plexus. So you should be taking your time to make decisions. But you also know that it's possible that you take too much time to make decisions because it's not really your solar, it's not an emotional wave helping you decide, it's you being avoidant
Yes.
and not taking
Yes.
any chances, which goes against the three, who is an experimenter. You're here to
Yes.
experiment all kinds of different things. Like you try everything, whether it pickleball,
Yeah.
paddleboarding. Have you ever thought about Pilates, by the way?
I have not.
Pilates is what I'm doing now for core strengthening.
Yeah.
It's not respiratory. I
Yeah.
thought it,
Yeah.
I mean, that costs money too,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's, so just experiment with all kinds of things. And then there's
Yeah.
all kinds of people in the coaching community and all kinds of practitioners that do all this stuff. And they give people stuff for free when they're working on things and they're perfecting their techniques. And so I
Yeah.
can give you access to a bunch of people like that too.
Okay. All right. Yeah. They just opened up a hot yoga studio up the street. It's
Don't
like,
do that.
I'm not,
That won't be
it's
good
like,
for your lungs at all.
yeah,
That is,
it's like hot yoga. No, I'm not going to sit in
yeah.
a 110-degree room with a whole bunch
My
of people
stepdaughter
doing
loves hot yoga, and she took my husband, and he nearly died.
yoga.
It was way too hot for him. But all right, let's get into your fifth line because your
Okay.
profile is 3-5. So you're an experimenter, but you're also the heretic. Your life has a more destined quality than you perhaps realize. As a heretic, you have a life path that is about helping others. but it's not just by your actions that you help others. Energetically, you serve as a mirror for others to help them with healing and aligning their energy. This isn't necessarily anything you do consciously. This is simply an artifact of your energy. This energetic mirroring makes it difficult for people to see you for who you really are. How you appear to others is a projection of their consciousness and what they need to work on to heal. Because of this, you might sometimes find yourself in the wrong place with the wrong people, being the wrong mirror. This is where the heretic name comes from. Sometimes people project inaccurate expectations onto you, and if you don't fulfill them, your reputation can suffer. Of course, the converse is true. If you follow your human design strategy, you will find yourself in the right place with the right people, being of service in a way that is empowering and transformative. It's so important for the heretic to follow their strategy. It can save them a lot of pain and suffering. So, because of the projections of others as a fifth line profile, you can be a master of hiding. No one really knows who you are. They will think they do, but they don't. It's not that you are secretive necessarily, but you will play your cards very close to your chest.
I do that.
Yes, I definitely. I was reading that and I was like, got goosebumps because it's spot on.
I
Um,
mean, I don't like people knowing. I mean, for me to do this podcast and put myself out there is a huge, you know, come, you know, putting myself out there, just basically. But
it's
no, I mean,
amazing that you're doing it. Like, given the more I've gotten to know you
yeah,
in this process, it's amazing that you agreed to do it. But it's a testament to how much you want things to change.
and I do, and that's what I need to do for myself. To change, to be a better person, and because just don't know how long I have left on this earth, barring any accidents. I mean, um, but being the best person for myself, for my children, for my family, for my siblings, for my nieces and nephews, and so forth, and
But I
for
want you to
friends.
not better. You don't have to be a better person. You just want to,
Yeah,
it's really more about not becoming, it's, I mean, yes, we want to be the best version of ourselves that we can be, but it's
yeah,
really about deeply loving the flawed version of us
yeah,
as we are. We have to do that first, and then the transformation comes. We can't wait until we're so, quote unquote, perfect
yeah,
to feel like we're good enough or better enough. Does that make sense? It's not really
yeah.
about better.
No, no, your statement is correct. I mean, I understand as far as um, being a more authentic person. Um, you know, yes,
Yeah.
I understand. I'm never going to be. No one's ever going to be perfect. I'm never going to be the best I can be. Kind of
Oh,
thing.
and when we're talking about all these things, like when we're talking about the chiropractor and we're talking about the oils and we're talking about all this stuff,
Yeah,
really what it comes down to is because it changes the way you show up to your relationships. When you're not in pain,
yeah,
you can show up differently than you do when you're hurting. When you're more when you're doing the Reiki and you remove those emotional blocks, you can have higher quality interactions with other humans. Because at the end of the day, it's really about our relationship with ourselves and with other people. Nothing else really matters.
yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, so
So, okay.
learn. It's never too late to learn about yourself.
No, it really isn't.
No, no.
Okay, so the heretic profile in its highest expression has the capacity to influence great numbers of people and to demonstrate the highest possible energies in their chart. That means that you have seduction as a life theme. You can seduce a room with your personality, your ideas, and even your sexuality if you choose. The fifth line makes you a great salesperson in many ways, and you're in sales, right?
I am. Yep.
Yes.
Ah,
Cool. In relationships, you like to be seductive and seduced. People are drawn to you. You can have a lot of power and control in your relationships, and you decide when to turn your charm on or off. Some heretics like the energy of seduction so much that they forget about the other parts of being in a relationship. This can give you a certain Casanova quality if you're not careful. And of course, because people are projecting ideas and perceptions on you, they may perceive you as a Casanova even when you're being faithful. The projection
I
sort of others can sound, what were you going to say about that?
was gonna say I don't know about all that.
Yeah, I know. Well, but also I think when they're talking about seduction and stuff, it's not just sexual,
Yeah, no, I understand.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so in its highest expression, you can effectively influence people. In its lowest expression, you can use your charm for personal gain and sometimes hurt others. So I don't really see that. So there's different ways that when you're not living your design and you're kind of like in your shadow,
Yeah.
the parts of you when you're not like all lit up in the right place. And some of them are more reactive and some are more like passive.
Okay.
So shutting down
Yeah.
is often a sign. But so then, all right, so that's we're not going to go through a whole lot more here.
Yeah.
We only have limited time. But then this is your incarnation cross, the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix. I can't tell you about that. We'd have to look it up. But
Okay.
these four dates, if you look at it, 34 and 20 are right here. 34 and 20 are at the top of your design column,
Okay.
and 55 and 59 are at the top of your personality column. So these four signs make up the majority of who you are. And if I have it right, I believe the top one on the right is the one that's like 70% of your personality.
So
So
what's the little design thing to the right of the number?
those are planets,
Oh,
different
okay.
planets, and I believe
Okay.
that's a sun that's in the
Okay.
first one. So that's your conscious sun. But
Okay.
there's a book, and we could talk about this another time too if you want, because
Yeah.
that's one, like, but it's The Gene Keys is a great book that explains, and also RJ, all this is in the course that you purchased
Oh,
along with
okay.
the
Okay.
community. So I just remembered that you have access to all this stuff anyway, and there's a whole cheat sheet that helps you to learn about your design and gives recommendations for where you can get a reading and stuff. But those
Okay.
gates are cool. And the Gene Keys book by Richard Rudd is a great book to look up each one of those, the numbers in your chart. But like I said, you could get really caught up in this stuff and go down major rabbit holes,
Yeah.
which sometimes you might feel like doing, and it's fun, but then it can get overwhelming and you're already kind of overwhelmed with all the other stuff you're doing.
Yes. Yes.
Don't let it
And
become overwhelming.
no, no, I don't. I don't. I won't.
Okay. All right. So as we're getting ready to wrap up this week, and I'm thinking about next one as our last one. I'm thinking about how we talked about time management in a daily practice. But
Yes.
I also wanted to touch on something that you brought up at the beginning of the experiment that's very important to you, and that was your relationship with your kids.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I thought we might touch on that
Yeah.
too, like how maybe I'm not really sure how we're experimenting, so I'm gonna have to think about like how we want to address that or what you might want to try in
Okay.
order to, so that just because we know that with your diagnosis, and we're hoping that this work and removing emotional blocks and stuff is going to prolong the time that you have here.
Hmm.
We also want to make sure that you don't have any unfinished business.
Yes.
We have
Yes.
no idea when something, and when I say that to you, it makes me think how I don't want any unfinished business. So it reminds me not to be like so bitchy to my husband sometimes because something happens, or like really though, like
Yeah.
we think that people are here forever,
Yeah.
and that we're always going to have another opportunity. But I really think that one of the hardest things in life is when you didn't do what you wanted to do before someone dies.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
we'll kind of talk about that too.
Okay. Sounds great.
All right. Do you have any questions for me? Or we're not going to meet next week because it's
No.
Christmas, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, on this chart, what's the arrows up and down mean next to some of the numbers?
The arrows up. Um, I don't know,
Okay, all right. I'll look.
but somebody else can tell you.
All right. Well, no, I'll look at the course that.
Yeah, the course has when you go to, it's a spirit practical module. It introduces
Spirit.
different things in there, and that's where the
Okay.
handout is for human design. And
Okay.
then you can text me and ask me questions. It's really kind of fun. It's fun to learn more about yourself.
Yeah. No,
Um,
it's interesting.
yeah, good.
Like I
Well,
said, I've never heard about this before.
yeah, is it okay if I stop sharing the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, happy holidays.
Well, happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Well, honestly, one of the greatest gifts I got this year was you coming on the podcast. It,
Well,
it's amazing. I mean,
yeah.
I'm getting a little teary-eyed right now that you're doing this, that you're putting
Well,
yourself out there like that, and that you're trusting me
yeah.
to do this with. And it really means a lot to me, and I want you to know that.
Well, thank you for bringing a new, making me look for a new side of myself, and exploring a new side of myself, and for being, shit, we haven't talked to each other for 43 years. And it's funny with, Youngstown people, you just pick up where you left off. I mean, it's like there's no, I mean, and going out and, hanging out with my buddies in Georgia, it was just like there's no judgment, I think. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know. It just, we accept who we are, you know, then and now, and we knew each other when we were, growing up, and hadn't seen each other in years, but I feel like I've known you for years. So,
yeah. I mean, some people might go get a coffee or have lunch. We decided to do a deep dive on your subconscious and unconscious programming. Why not?
hey, thank, thank you, Maureen, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year too.
Thank
Happy holidays.
you too. Audience, I
Yeah.
know you learned something valuable here today. I'll see you next episode. Thanks so much for listening to the Brain BS podcast. I hope you really learned something here today that can be helpful and that you can apply to your own life. If you find it useful, I would appreciate it if you gave me a 5-star review at Apple Podcasts and shared the podcast with everyone you know so that I can reach more people and help them to learn how to live consciously and live the life they really want. If you'd like to be on the podcast, you can email me at mkcoachllc@gmail.com or message me on Facebook. Until the next time,